Hello, everyone. I'm crazy. I'm a little crazy. But we're all a little crazy. Anyways, here in Texas, almost all the roads closed down for in the morning because it was so cold outside, and there was snow and ice for us. So for Texas, we're not used to this, nor are we prepared for it. So that's why the roads closed down. I know in Boston it can be -8 degrees and y'all are still chugging on the roads, but we don't have the capabilities at our disposal because it doesn't happen very often. And if it doesn't really happen very often, then the funds aren't funneled towards the necessary resources to combat it. So we're stuck at home. No, but we're not stuck at home anymore. The temperature rised and it looks good the rest of the week, so should be good. For today, I don't think it's gonna be a long one, but it's something I wanted to mention and talk about. I was looking through my quotes on Twitter, and one struck me. It was by Viktor Frankl, and it essentially said that those who love are able to see the potential in human beings, and because of that, able to grow them. And of course, the first thing I thought of was the Hercules Jack the Ripper fight, because no one loved Jack the Ripper, at least as far as we can see. And once Hercules got over his anger, hatred, and suspicion and allowed his love to be the forefront of his being, maybe not for Jack the Ripper, but for humanity, which Jack the Ripper is part of. Once he was able to do that, then it was like this. There's a specific panel where you see it happen. Well, you see it to start to happen, where it's just these two little panels, and Jack the Ripper is looking at his knife, pretty much reminiscing on his backstory. Not reminiscing because it was a horrible backstory, but thinking over his backstory. And in the next panel, you see Hercules. There's like 3 little dashes and you see his expression go like of surprise, of like, oh, this is a human we're talking about. And once he realizes that, I think he also realizes, or I think remembers the meaning behind why he is justice, why he is righteousness. And it's because of his love for humanity. He doesn't get to dictate who lives or dies. What he found out needs to do is need to be the pillar for humanity. And how can you be the pillar for humanity if you don't love humanity unconditionally? And that's what he realizes, and that's what he shows and enacts the rest of Record of Ragnarok, or begins to. And because of his love for humanity, he's able to show Jack the Ripper is not Jack Reacher, but reveal Jack the Ripper's potential as a human being. Yes, he has extreme malice, but at the end of the day, he's still a human. And because of Hercules' unconditional love for Jack the Ripper's humanity, he's able to grow Jack the Ripper. He's able to understand where he comes from and grow him from that. One way we see that is at the beginning of the fight. It's quite obvious that Jack the Ripper is fighting because he likes it. He says a quote from Shakespeare that's the labor we delight in physics pain, and there's a double meaning to that. But the first meaning is I'm enjoying myself, so it doesn't matter if what pain you have against me. And it's that implication that he likes the carnage, he likes the fear, he likes that emotion, he likes the butchering of women. And that is kind of the impression we get with Jack the Ripper at the very beginning. And that's what people all in the crowds, the audience, and everyone watching, that is how they treat him. And what we find with human beings, especially with children, if we treat them in a certain way, they become that way. So if you treat a child like a child throughout their whole childhood, they're going to act like a child even in 18, 20, 22. If you treat your child like an adult throughout their childhood and their adult life, they're going to start acting like adult. And this is the same concept that we find with Jack the Ripper. Yes, he has impulses and he gave in to his impulses. Yet comes a point when if you are told something so many times, you're a murderer, you're a monster, you have sharp claws, you're a butcher, you're a murderer, you're a monster, you have sharp claws, you're a butcher, you're a monster, you have sharp claws. After so many times, the weak-willed, not the weak-willed, but the unintrospective man becomes the cave and become that. Now, what we see at the very end, Jack does not seem like he's fighting for the love of butchering and fighting and pain, because there's a point where he's practically unconscious and he gets up and starts fighting again, and it's Hercules' love bringing that potential in him that he is tough. That is what a main part of humanity is, that they keep on going, they keep fighting. And Jack the Ripper represents that in that moment. They keep fighting, and he's fighting for humanity. And I genuinely think he is at that point, because from just the descriptions and seeing him, and the descriptions Loki talks about that afterwards, that he's pretty much risking his life to win this fight, doesn't sit well with me that it would be because he likes the pain of it. Crap, I forgot what else I was gonna say too. It was I thought it could hold two ideas at the same time, but it was hard. Oh, yes. Oh, I did it. Okay, we were talking about external influences and how an introspective man caves to those external influences. At the very end, after Hercules has given his good unconditional love, undiluted love. And Jack the Ripper finally realizes it is the love he's always wanted and always sought for. That emotion of being undiluted, unconditional, whereas fear was the only way he could get that pure emotion before. Hercules showing him that unconditional love. Afterwards, he becomes introspective. He starts to question himself. He starts to question, okay, what am I feeling now? Who am I? Like, why am I feeling this way towards this other human being? Where it was always external for him and is external for most of us. We always, a lot of us are so wound up in what other people think, what society thinks, what Twitter thinks, what everyone else is doing, the reactions, that we get so influenced by them. But it's not until Jack the Ripper is introspective about it himself that he's able to withstand the hatred and scorn from everyone else. That's what the ending of this is, just wonderful. Him winning for humanity, but still getting scorned for it. People throwing rocks at him, telling him he should have been dead, and that he's a murderer, that he doesn't and deserve to represent humanity. And what I find so wonderful about this story, and what's so amazing about this story, is that their external pressures for being a monster, for being a murderer, for being someone who is unrighteous, who is terrible, who is the malice of humanity. Once Jack the Ripper is introspective and looks at himself, starts trying to understand himself and the decisions he makes, once those external influences come, he doesn't cave in. He doesn't become the monster, or they say he is. What he does is he bows for them. In saying, I know you still hate me, but I did this for you. Thank you, regardless. And that's what that bow was. It's to show his humanity. It's to show that he too loves being a human, and he's grateful to have won that fight, even though he had to kill the one person that he, I would say, loved. And that's hard, especially when Jack the Ripper says, like, out of everyone, he says, if I had one wish, I wish you were here with me. I don't think any other person he would say that to. And yet he understands what he must do. He must show, just like as Hercules did, being the example for humanity. He knows he must be the example for humanity as well. And that's why he bows. That's why he doesn't and hide behind a mask. He takes his hat off. The hat that he took from his father, and that represents his murderous intent, that his backstory of how he became the monster he is. He takes it off. There's no mask. It's him as a human, bowing and saying nothing, and allowing people to still hate him, even though he knows better now. And that's why this story claps. Gotta freaking watch it, read it, whatever. It claps, baby. You better watch it. So yeah, whatever. Anyways, that was good. That was a lot longer than I thought it was. That's because that story always freaking gets me. I'm still talking about it like months later. Anyways, y'all have a good night. Bye.